Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, and welcome. Welcome. So this is the weekly reading for the 22nd of December through the 28th of December. So that includes Christmas week, and because of that, I felt like this week it might be fun to work with the John Bauer Tarot for the general reading. It is a really playful, sweet deck for which the guidebook is absolutely useless. If you've ever read the guidebook or if you have the deck, the meanings are just really outrageously bad. They describe the picture and move on, and they're bad. So I have really enjoyed just reading very intuitively with the actual images and the incredible depth that's available in those images. So we'll work with this deck and, of course, the Amenti Oracle. So to begin with, here is our little Fool. I went ahead and pre-shuffled and found our Fool because that drives me crazy every week. I love this Fool. There's the Fool eating his little sandwich, sitting on the hillside, all innocent and happy, and without a thought in the world of what he's getting himself into. So I treasure that part of myself, and I hope all of you do as well. So let's find out what kind of trouble we will get into this week. Moving forward. All right, let's go ahead and shuffle our Fool into the deck and see what's in store. Sorry, I had to pause to relight this candle because I think my shuffling blew it out. Yes, we're going to go ahead and do first operation now. Okay. Okay, too bad it's not in this pile. I do really love this one. Just such a sweet little card. Okay. Oh, interesting. So one of these cards, wow, both of these two cards both jumped while I was shuffling. So that's very interesting. So this week, it would appear we are in the Cups pile. Big surprise. Given that it's the holiday. And let me see if I can just get this. Come on now, camera. Well, never mind. Anyway, we're in the Cups pile. And basically what that means is that we're in the realm of emotions. And any problems that we have this week, in the coming week that arise, are most easily going to be solved by feeling. So paying close attention to the way things feel. You know, does it feel right to make things right with your family member that's been difficult and insulting? Or does it feel like the right thing to do might be to get up and walk away? Does it feel right to worry about putting all the ending details on things as you get ready for company, or does it feel right to just leave it alone? Maybe it doesn't need something else that's unnecessary. Just looking at relationships as well. So considering and contemplating how are relationships working. That's a big part of holidays is dealing with people and dealing with their feelings and emotions. So, yeah. So that is the space that we're operating in, is in Cups. Let's see what our Amenti Oracle has to say this week. Wow. All right, so we've got another double decker this week here, or double jumper. So this week we're working with the energy of I respect the property of others, which would be funny for those little party games about, stealing each other's gifts. Just had to throw that in there. And the card, I affirm that all life is sacred. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love that one. Yeah, wow. So two very, very powerful intentions going into this week. Very, very powerful intentions. All right, let's have a look at what they mean and see if there's anything that I want to draw out after looking at the book. So in respecting the property of others, we're not just talking about stuff. I forget that with this one. She looks at, Jennifer Sodini, that is, looks at the definition of the word property to give us a better sense of what it means. And in this context, we're talking very much about respecting the way that other people are. What do they possess? What are their qualities? So we could say respect the properties of others. I respect the way that other people are. I respect their right to uphold their values, to uphold their value system the way that they do in their own individual way. And respecting your own is a great way of remembering how to respect the property of others or the properties of others, the other's way of being. Yeah. You don't have to be just like your family. Everyone doesn't have to agree. But by modeling that you are able to let them sit where they are and be where they are, while understanding that it doesn't mean that things have to be brought into conflict, can be a great way of modeling this and of embodying it. Okay, and then looking further at, I affirm that all life is sacred. Obviously it means exactly what it sounds like, but it's also, this one too is really about respect. It's interesting. This one is about affirming that, everything has a purpose, that we're all connected very deeply, that all things have their place and their purpose and their time. And there's really nothing more that we have to do to interfere with that, but to recognize it and respect it is a very necessary aspect of what we're called to do this week. Everything, all life, all things that make up life and that make up part of our network of life are sacred and necessary. So really very interesting when you look at these two together. The whole network of life, all of life is sacred because we are all part of it. And that may be very helpful in terms of respecting the property of others, respecting the way that they are, the way that they do things, etc. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and count the cards. Okay, so believe it or not, I managed to, we have the devil, death, and the tower all here together in one pile. So I just thought I would throw that out. They've been coming up a lot in readings this week. I've been doing a lot of more tarot reading than I have been for a little while here for the public. And this week those three cards have been coming up repeatedly for folks. just thought I'd throw that out there. So that said, we're going to start with our Fool. And this week it felt right to go clockwise. Because if we're celebrating Christmas in any way, or celebrating, quote, the holiday season in any way, we are also ultimately doing so within, you know, I don't know, it's what everyone's doing. So it feels right to kind of go with the status quo and go along, you know, the right-hand path with that. So starting with the Fool, who is an elemental number, we'll go clockwise. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, wonderful. Our first card's going to be the Devil. And interesting, well, we'll see it in a second, but it could be a Santa Claus, really. Okay, so the Devil is, I think, a zodiac. Yes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wonderful. So we also have the 3 of Pentacles. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We have the 8 of Cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, wow. Three cards, really? Let's recount that and just make sure. 1, 2, 3, the Devil. Devil is 12, is that right? Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that's it. Amazing, folks. 3 cards. So we got a short one this week. I don't know how that happened, but amazingly it did. Wow. All right, let's flip the camera around and have a look at our 3 cards, shall we? Okay, so here we are, facing this direction. So I have our 3 cards here, and I did feel a need to just pull from what has become easily one of my favorite decks to work with, the Medieval Sigils Tarot, or the Sigilla Medievalia. It's so wonderful for reading with, you know, as a sort of help me understand this card better kind of deck. Or I frequently like to read 2 decks concurrently together just to get further depth. And this card is wonderful at drawing out similarities or drawing out a particular quality of a card to make it clearer to us. So I did throw in a couple, you know, I did throw one for each of these. The first card we have is the Devil. And this Devil is easily about our greed. It's almost a Santa Claus devil, isn't it? Or a Krampus or something. But yeah, this Devil is definitely pointing to our need to hold on to stuff and things. And obviously, this week being the holiday week, you know, the greed, the excess, the need to hold on to stuff, it's going to be with us. So I think it's, you know, it just helps us to be aware that that's a big factor in what we're looking at going into the week. You know, that if what we're doing is holding all life sacred, how does that play in? You know, is there something that we need to do to let go of? Is there a way of looking at things that we could let go of? Because sometimes greed isn't just about stuff. You know, sometimes it's letting go of ideas. Sometimes it's letting go of ways of doing things, of traditions, of ideas that we have about the way things should be done, you know, and letting go of those in favor of what would work best for the whole. So I feel like going into this week, we're being asked to, you know, consider the ways in which our individuality and our stuckness in a particular pattern or way of doing things could be let go of in favor of the collective whole. I definitely feel like we're getting that with our 2 Amenti Oracle cards that jumped this week. And this feels that way too, actually, as I look at these three cards. Our second card that we have is the Three of Pentacles. We've got a lot of mountain peaks and so forth, and they're at the top of the mountain. And, you know, we have a sense that they're all there devoted to one purpose, right? Or to one sacred thing. It's interesting that this is a, you know, this week from a Christian perspective is Christian Christmas. And, you know, we have the Madonna and Child here. And it almost looks like the three wise men coming up and, you know, paying tribute or homage in some way. But as we look at that, you know, there are three or four, we could say four here, that are united in purpose, right? They've all come for one thing. She's standing on a solid pedestal, you know, things are very solid. There's solid ground. They're at the top of the mountain looking down. You know, this Three of Pentacles feels to me about uniting around purpose, around ritual, about co-creating what's going to happen. So, you know, where we're looking at our devil, you know, having space to let go of things that don't serve the greater good is where I, you know, that's how I'm seeing these two together. You know, not holding on to too many things that will affect, you know, others, and being willing to collaborate in order to make something or create something together that works well through the week. All right. That said, when we look at our Eight of chalices here, let me just pull these guys behind each other and we'll add the second layer in a minute. But we look at this, you know, we've got this naked man whose butt cheeks are clenched, you know, so there's clenching. His head is bowed. To me, this feels like shame. Obviously, there's difference. You know, we have all these folks turned towards a figurehead here. I don't know how clear that is, but there's like a figurehead here that everyone's bowing towards. We've got a cross up here at the top. So this is church or something. And, you know, in the face or in the wake of this person's difference, or perhaps their shame. I'm feeling shame from this card a lot. We have this one person here who has chosen not to follow the crowd and instead has chosen to hold space and a middle ground for both things to exist concurrently. Her willingness to do this and to turn towards, not directly, not in a way that's confrontational, but her willingness to hold open space between this person who's singled out and this crowd who are all going their own direction is rather profound and really beautiful. Really beautiful. She's her ability to go into that middle space there that exists between the crowd and this man offers his experience a sense of dignity. Yeah. So as we look at the trajectory here, you know, the way in which we are willing to examine our own patterns. For me, the devil is always to some extent about patterns. You know, it's the kinds of ways of behaving and engaging with things that have held us in bondage, you know, for most of our lives and most of our existence. And certainly greed around things, ideas, stuff, ways of doing stuff, traditions can be really unhelpful. And a willingness to then collaborate with others and allow space to unite around the same purpose, whether that's literally worshiping in a more Christian way, or if it's simply about creating and holding a sacred space where everyone, you know, can exist together on solid ground, is going to be very important for us. And that's going to require us to hold space in many cases for very differing experiences of life, right? You know, whatever that may be and however that may manifest in your family or in your life, because I'm aware that not everybody is going to celebrate things in even remotely the same way. That's going to be necessary going into this holiday and into this week, or this series of holidays that all come together at the same time, right? It may also be about holding space for your own, unique way of seeing things, and recognizing that your perspective in the wake of all of this is also worthy of honoring, right? It may mean that you've compromised quite a few things, but that it's still important to recognize your own response to things. Yeah. So, those are the key cards. Then we have, interestingly, the Seven of Cups that came up along with this Devil. And what this one is giving me, the Six of Cups, rather. Is that right? Yeah. Which, that keeping, this to me feels like having your eyes wide open. It feels like it's pointing to, go into the future, leave the past behind. It may be more comfortable, to keep childhood traditions and things in their place. But actually, in order to move forward and into the future, it's so interesting because they're both pointing this direction somehow, that's really important, So it may also be, too, that some very deep childlike or, childhood stuff or family stuff wants to come up from the past and really influence things moving into this holiday week. So just be very, very aware of that, I think. Be very aware of that tendency to take place. Second one we have is the Five, I think, yes, it's the Five of Cups that jumped. So, yeah. Again, moving forward, this does not hold this kind of disappointing Five of Cups feeling for me this week. It feels more like, this to me is bringing it's an M, Madonna. This is a Madonna. I know it's Scorpio, but getting to the center, getting to the heart of things, what really matters. What really, really matters. What is the most important thing? And then move towards that, move in that direction. And ultimately, I think there will be some of us, I gotta be real here, I think there will be some of us for whom this is just not gonna happen. I think for some of us, this, what's real and what's necessary may mean that this is not possible. And you may need to say no in favor of taking care of yourself, right? Taking care of you. What do you need? And where will you find that middle ground and that person willing to hold space for you? And it may be that the only person capable of that is you. Could be. But I think for the rest, getting to the heart of what's really important will mean let go of this, let go of this stuff over here with the Devil and move towards a more collaborative outlook, more collaborative space. Okay, and then finally, here we go. I have the Ace of Pentacles here, the Ace of Earth. And that's so interesting because this to me looks like her bonnet a little bit. Ooh, there's also this line here that's slanting down and this vertical space here and here. yeah, everything feels to me like we're looking at this middle space and holding a safe ground. You know, what is it that you need to feel grounded and still, and to hold your own sense of beingness, your own sense of your own essence, your own physical sensory essence as a human being in the world. You know, what is it that you need in order to find that grounding and that spaciousness? Just simply to be who you are, to be who you are without shame, or to be who you are in a way that creates space for someone who is experiencing that vulnerability and that nakedness, and fear. Yeah, because as we look at it, all of these are related to this notion of valuing and respecting the way that others are and what their needs are, right? Because if everyone has different properties, different ways of being, different ways of seeing things, different ways of expressing themselves as you know, unique individuals, being respectful of that means that it's okay for them to be who they are, right? Nobody has to change. And even though we are able to do that, it is true, right? There are many of us who are able to do that. It's also true that there are many people who cannot return that, you know? And what can you do to create a space for yourself this week that allows you to respect others because you're willing to respect yourself? And that means knowing your boundaries, but it also means understanding where these other individuals, you know, that you may be interacting with fit in the bigger picture. Because we're all part of that sacred bigger picture and we need each other, you know. But just because of that is also true does not mean you're not allowed to have a sacred boundary. She's got this halo around herself. You know, when might you need to remember how to create space for your own individual needs and walk away from the crowd, in order to feel more grounded? All right. So that's what we got for this week, everybody. I don't know where to put those. We'll just go there for the moment. But I wish everybody the most beautiful, sacred, stunning week. And I mean that whether you're able to celebrate with others or whether you're finding space and holding space for yourself, and whether or not you celebrate a holiday or any holiday, or you simply celebrate getting space from the world and from a world that feels very greedy, in order to find a sense of united purpose within and to hold space for yourself. All right. Bye, everybody. Lots and lots of love to you.